Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 4. I'm JJ.
And I'm Graham.
And we have got a lot to talk about today.
We do.
We've got some news, one quick subject I think you and I wanted to talk about, some paddle releases, and then our paddle awards of the year. So let's just jump right into it. So one topic that has kind of been going on throughout this entire year, it kind of died down, honestly, though, towards the end of the year. I would say like it was more of a middle-ish. So actually, no, honestly, it was the beginning with April.
It was April when all the Gen 3s came out. And then it's just been one of those up and down subjects of the year.
Yeah, and that is the subject of eyewear. And Jeannie Bouchard recently got hit in the eye. I think, was it during practice or was it a game? Yeah, during practice. I think she was rushed to the hospital. I think she's okay. But just another scary sight. And if a pro can get hit, I mean, any of us can get hit.
Yeah.
And obviously power paddles were a huge topic this year, huge subject, a bunch of people using them. Obviously they sold extremely well, as you mentioned, the Gen 3s. So should eyewear be required in pickleball?
Such a hard thing to require, because it's like, it's not at the level like racquetball, where it got to racquetball where it's like, you have to wear eyewear. Like I just played racquetball a couple weeks ago and I got hit in the face a few times.
Oh yeah.
It's like, if you were not wearing eyewear, I mean, it's coming so fast. It's not at that level, so requiring it is hard. And I think I was watching Pickleball Studio and Isaac said it, and he said it the best, where he was like, I think everybody should have to wear it. But also, I've been playing for too long without it that I don't want to. I'm not going to wear it.
And it's like, it could be just kind of like how hockey is, which they might have also brought up, where you can be grandfathered in. The people that were way back they didn't have to wear a helmet, and then the newer players, as you kind of got older, or as the new people got drafted, they had to wear it. They're forced to. That could be one way we see the sport go. I honestly don't think. I think there's going to be some revisions in power, personally.
Yeah.
I think it is going to happen. The most popular paddle to talk about the last couple months, the Ripple. Either USAP, because especially me, I've been critical of the UPAA, but we'll be a little critical of the USAP here. Their PB core test, clearly something's wrong with that, because no one's gotten results, and they invested a lot of money in it. I also heard today on one of the other podcasts also, I think it was Pickleball Pursuit, there's ways in other sports that you can game that system. Maybe that's, they're starting to realize that it's not as true of a test as they originally thought. So I think they are hearing some of the problems, let's say, with the Ripple, and they're being very hesitant this time, even though it kind of was approved with the beta, but they clearly changed stuff. So that paddle's in a weird spot. I think USAP is trying to tread very carefully this time, hopefully for the right reasons. But I think we're going to see a scale back. If not next year, I think the year after. Maybe give some of these companies some grace period, but I don't think long-term it'll be an issue. But I mean, if it goes the way of racquetball, it's like we probably will have to do some system of, a certain age of the professionals wise. Eventually you just have to start wearing it's required.
Yeah. I mean, something's messed up if the Ripple pass, so.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see some more topics on that later. But yeah, it's just that paddle hits so hard, and it's not just the Ripple. I mean, the Gearbox Pro Power, that paddle hits just as hard, if not harder. But outside of that, like that's kind of the top of the line. Obviously, you've got the mods, especially when they come delaminated, and a lot of people don't know when they do, and their cores are corrupted. So you got those running around in wreck. So.
One thing though, just on the topic of being critical of UPAA, we have been critical of UPAA, but the interview, John Q just interviewed the CEO of
great
UPAA.
Interview.
That was a great interview. If any of you guys are listening and have heard us being critical of UPAA, he did say some really good things, and I'd really recommend, just at least for another opinion, to go listen to that.
And I will definitely say, hearing that interview, and again, obviously going for face value of assuming everything is 100% true. A lot of good things in that interview. So if you haven't watched that, watch John Q's, I think, second to last podcast. I don't think it was the last one. It was the one before.
Yeah.
he had an interview, and it was fantastic. A lot of cool things, a lot of cool insight to the pro scene. Their paddle testing definitely highlights the pro scene over the amateurs, at least for this year. We'll see if that ends up changing. But
it was interesting. He didn't mention the amateur at all.
Yeah, that's why they were saying we're only focusing on, because they said that's where the gap in the market was, is that the pro scene was not being tested well enough.
Yeah,
so,
which is interesting.
But yeah, anyways, and also I think they mentioned possibly having somebody else on that's more on the paddle testing side in their lab. If John has him on, I'm sure he will, but that'll be definitely exciting. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think eyewear will need to be required, because I think there'll either be some rollbacks or we're not going to go faster than we currently are. Obviously, if you're really worried about it, I think you should wear it. But overall, I don't think it's something that will need to be required.
I agree.
But it is cool, though, because there's a lot of brands I know that have been kind of experimenting with some new glasses. Might do a review on that. I know Carbon and Yola actually released some, or have some glasses upcoming that look like regular sunglasses, which is really cool to see, because I know a lot of people, that was their complaints. They kind of either look too sporty, or people just don't like the look of a lot of the eyewear protection out in the market right now. So, all right. Let's jump into some more fun stuff with some gear. Both of us received some new bags this week.
Yeah.
I'm jealous I don't have the one you have, but we'll work on that.
Sure, you'll get it.
Mark, I'm looking at you. But 60 did send over their newly released bag. And honestly, when I first saw the pictures of it, I wasn't too thrilled about it. And then I received it, and I'm like, this is a very solid size. So it reminds me a lot of, not the Tour Pro bag that you have from Selkirk.
Yeah.
The one that's just smaller, that's kind of like a square top. That's the one I used for a while, so it's not too big. But it reminds me a lot of that. And this is actually one of the critiques I have with the kitchen bag. It opens from the top, but the one thing I think is so underrated, in my personal opinion, about the Selkirk bags is the kind of square top.
Yeah.
And just that it just kind of opens up like, I don't know, like a can. I don't know what else. But it's like just the top opens. It's not like a backpack where it goes down the sides. And I personally love that, because I just throw a bunch of paddles in the top.
Yeah.
And then it's like you just grab from the handles versus kind of going down the sides. And there's just a bunch of pockets on it. It's not too thick, so it is probably about half the size of that Selkirk bag. But you can still fit about 5 paddles in this pretty comfortably, maybe 6 if you jam them in. But yeah, I was very impressed with this, very solid. I do not remember the price of this, but I'm definitely going to be featuring this in some content. But I definitely wanted to highlight it, because this, like I said, just came out, I think, this week. And my initial first thoughts, very impressed with it.
Yeah.
And if you want to highlight the bag that you got.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which kind of falls into the same size too.
Yeah. So same size. It's the size of a backpack. It's from Proton, obviously. This bag has been really nice. I've used it this whole week. I was kind of struggling. I have the bigger Selkirk tour bag.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you pretty much have a turtle shell in your back.
Mm-hmm. A lot of pockets on that.
It's great when we have a bunch of paddles to go test.
Or going to a tournament.
I love that bag. I still use that bag. But this one's nice for work. It's actually built on their softball line.
Mm-hmm.
So these are bat holders on the side. So I don't know what will correlate to that. Maybe a tripod or something. Something like that. But right now I have 2 paddles in here, my laptop, a bunch of books, clothes, and it all still fits really well. I don't know how many paddles. I think I could probably fit 5 paddles pretty easily. It's a great size. It's right at the height of a paddle, so it's right at the top, but I could probably fit 5 or so paddles in here. Tons of pockets. I know a lot of the guys over at Proton will travel with this, and they pack for a whole weekend.
I just love how tactical this bag looks too.
It is called the tactical backpack.
I did not know that. So,
and this is that backpack. If anybody bought a Proton last week, that they were giving away for free with.
I was just about to ask, was that the one that was in the Black Friday deal?
That's the one that was in the Black Friday deal.
That is also the preferred bag of our local pro at her height.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, we see that. We've been seeing that for a while. I know you've had your eye on it, so I'm glad you're able to get that. But yeah, definitely cool seeing your use cases for it. And like I said, I'm definitely going to be experimenting with this new 60 bag. I think either on the podcast or maybe I might have just a dedicated bag review. So look out for that. I do have a kitchen review that is still on the way. So that'll be the first maybe of many, kind of getting into more of the gear side. But yeah, definitely want to highlight both of those because those are both bags that we did just get, and we both were pretty impressed with both of them. So next, something that I'm still claiming, which we did break because maybe we were a little premature on it, but we were also given the green light, so that's not our fault. And I know this still looks like a Series 3, but
still not one.
Proton did repost the Project Flamingo. And I was fortunate enough to get my hands on one very early. This is a prototype. Easy way for me is the butt cap to be able to tell, but this is what the pros have been using for last month or so now. Longer than that, maybe 2 months. Last 2 months.
Or 3 months.
Yeah.
Because they were using it in Vegas when we were there.
So there's still not too much we can talk about in terms of the specs on this paddle, other than it's a revamped 3.
Yeah. Revamped 3 with the new core.
It's got a new core. That core is going to be coming to more of their lineup.
Yeah.
And as I'll probably put the picture up if I can. I also have the other one that I was sent. But Miami Vice, it's pink and blue. I think the handle's still up for debate on what their final product's going to be. But definitely a louder paddle, definitely in line with Proton, definitely very colorful. But I have been very impressed with this paddle. It has been my main ever since pretty much I've got it. There's a couple other paddles that are in the rotation, but this has just been so consistent for me. It's got the right level of power. It's got a decent sweet spot. The prototype, we'll see if the Project Flamingo, the final product, will be like as light as this is. I know that's been kind of a theme that we've been seeing, especially with the course fires. But I did end up putting 2 grams on each side of this paddle. I might experiment with some more. We'll see. But it definitely needed some help with stability. But outside of that, you've hit this as well. We've had a couple friends swim with this for a bit. They were super impressed. But I was going to say, I know there's maybe another paddle from Proton we also can't quite talk about yet.
Yeah.
That is on the Pro Tour, but we'll hold back. But I know that's your preferred over this.
Yeah.
But from your play testing, what are your thoughts?
So I really like it. I played with the original Series 3 without the new core for a while. I like this one. I think, it definitely needs a lot of weight. I would put more weight on it than JJ does, but I do really enjoy this paddle. I like the new colors have grown on me. So, I like the new colors. Like he said, it's in the very first podcast, we talked about it and we said, we're on the hunt for a paddle tech with a bigger sweet spot. And it
delivers.
It's pretty much a paddle tech with a bigger sweet spot.
Very much so.
It doesn't have the mod or ripple or gearbox power, which I think is a good thing. You think it's a good thing. But it has enough power. It's got enough put away power, but you're not sacrificing all the control to get it. So I think this will follow the theme with a lot of paddles next year.
Very much. We're gonna be seeing a lot, especially in Q1.
Yeah.
Because we already know of 3 or 4 that kind of are going to fit this category. Exactly. I know they were, as of now, I know they're trying to release this still this year.
December 27th.
Whether they hit that or not. Yeah, December 27th is the rumor.
That's pushing it. I mean,
might be January. Might be January. My guess is still it's going to be a next year. But
I mean, as of what, 2 weeks ago, there was three in the US.
3 in the United States, yeah.
So
that's good. And they are over in Vietnam right now.
Yeah, so
opening a new facility.
Yeah, they opened an HQ in Vietnam, which is crazy.
Hilarious. So if you are watching in Vietnam, comment, because I joked with Chris about this from Pickleball Studio while we were in Dallas at Worlds, that 2% of my audience is from Vietnam.
Oh, really?
So when they opened that, I'm like, it's massive growing population of pickleball players. So I'm like, that's cool that Charles is kind of getting ahead on that. But yeah, anyways, wanted to highlight this since we can actually talk about it now. I did use this in Worlds when I played with John Q. And I didn't have weight on it. That was my one mistake because I did not go into the week planning to use it. But just like John kind of last minute chose the Gearbox Hyper, I last minute chose the new Series 3 Project Flamingo. But very impressed with this. I cannot wait to get the final production model. I'm going to be doing a ton of trial and error, weights, slice cap, just a ton of stuff to try to find the perfect balance. As well as just, as we mentioned, there's gonna be a lot of paddles kind of coming out that fit that paddle tech with a bigger sweet spot. But so far, this is by far my favorite. So
yeah, out of the ones we've hit, it's your favorite. I got mine, but
hopefully end of this month. Hopefully
I'll be able to talk about mine by the end of the month.
Also true. Another paddle that did release, I think it's a limited release, was the Ruby Infinity. And do not have this paddle. I did get to play test it quite a bit while I was in Dallas with one of the 6-0 reps. Don't have too many thoughts on it in terms of not having it, and don't want to speak too much on it. But what I can say is this Infinity, 1,000 times better than Double Black Diamond. The Double Black Diamond Infinity is just, there's no reason to buy that paddle. In my opinion, I know there's people that like it. The 6-0 Infinity, more of a reason. It feels better. The sweet spot's decent.
The Ruby Infinity.
What did I say?
6-0.
Ruby Infinity. The Ruby Infinity definitely, like if you like edgeless paddles and you like the Ruby, or just in general you like edgeless paddles and you're looking for something new, the Ruby Infinity is definitely a paddle that I would recommend for edgeless. And yeah, like I said, the simplest way to put it is it's what the Double Black Diamond was. If that let you down, I don't think this one let you down as much. But also at the end of the day, the edge guard, it's better.
Yeah,
so
I didn't get to hit the Ruby, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's just kind of in this weird spot of where it's like, obviously you remove the perimeter weighting, so you get a little bit faster hand speed, but you sacrifice some of the benefits of having that perimeter weighting. Now, if you want to throw your own on, more customization, I'm assuming it's a lower static weight. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of highlight it, saying that paddle came out, and the fact that if you were very disappointed in the original Double Black Diamond Infinity, this one I do not think will be as big of a letdown. Actually, I think this one is quite solid, and I'm looking forward to either reading comments or seeing other people talk about it when they buy it.
Yeah, for sure.
Lastly, the Shapeshifter, as well as I will also bring back up the Course Fire. So both of these paddles are now out. Very different paddles. So both of these paddles are offered in all three of their shapes. It's the HX, the SX, and the EX. And also highlighted, I should have brought that in here, they do have that new hybrid shape. Actually, there's probably one right there, but it's fine. Unless it's that bottom one. If it's not the bottom one, don't worry about it. It'll also be good because that's a different color edge guard. Which one is that?
If not, the other one's right above it.
Oh, it's the HX. Yeah, perfect. So, their new hybrid shape, as I mentioned in my Course Fire video, he did change his hybrid shape. He used to have that standard, we'll get into that later, the more traditional hybrid. Something over there? No, maybe not.
I'm sure there's some.
Yeah, I got one. Don't worry.
It's like there is
whole reliable. So they had one that was kind of your more traditional, rounded top, tapers a little bit. He elected to go with this new shape, sweet spot for reasons. I think no taper. So definitely has been interesting to kind of hit around with. I like it, but this is his new standard shape, new hybrid shape. And also the new Shapeshifter comes in two different colors. You can get a black or a white edge guard. So it's cool that was actually sitting right there.
Yeah.
But basically, just kind of quick thoughts, because I do have my review out on the Fire, and I will have a first look coming out on the Shapeshifter. But Fire, one of the most underrated power paddles of this year. I know it came out late. I put this in my top 5 power paddles of this year. If you haven't seen that video on my channel, you and I both got to hit quite a bit. And I mean, you want to talk to obvious
for
the Fire.
The Fire, I don't understand why people aren't talking about this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing hits like a missile. It's crazy. The deflections on this thing is ridiculous. It's
outside of the mod. I think we both said it.
I think it hits harder than a mod on deflections. On deflections specifically, my hot take is it hits harder than a mod. Everybody looks, all other reviewers look at me like I'm crazy when we say that.
Yeah, I know. I've gotten so much pushback on that.
But as well as that, I played with the mod for 3 months, and then in 2 games with this thing, I picked it up, and everybody who we were playing with looked at me and they were like, "What are you playing with?"
Any ball that's above the net that you connect with, that's coming with any speed towards you. Yeah, the amount of people that you have just kind of look as the ball go by and look back at you like something's wrong is astonishing to me.
I mean, we had the weight in the wrong spot, and I've almost stopped playing pickleball. I hit every ball for an entire game out.
Luckily, or into the net because you just.
Luckily, we found
something
out the weighting, and this paddle is a great paddle, and it's a top 5 powered paddle of the year. But I mean, it hits like a rocket.
Yeah, and the weighting he's talking about, which I think I briefly might have mentioned in my review, but we had 3 grams up top, and any extra weight on the top of this paddle, I think is the problem. But we ended up going with 4 grams spread out because the other problem is, which I shouldn't say is a problem, but the thing that you have to do is this paddle is extremely light, so you have to weight it up.
Yeah, you have to, or vibrate.
So
crazy.
I got 4 grams on each side, and this is the best setup I've found. I'm going to keep experimenting. But yeah, when I had just weight on the top, anything you hit deflection-wise off the top of this paddle just rockets.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, serves and drives, it hits
hard.
It hits extremely hard.
Yeah.
It's at least TKO, if not a little harder.
But it's nothing like the overheads.
Those overheads, putaways, and deflections is just, it's something else with this. And it's probably, he did that unique layer of fiberglass in this, and clearly he found something with it. He also did say his intent behind this paddle was that it's a singles paddle.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for that.
Yeah.
Doubles, touch, you sacrifice that a little bit, but what you gain in putaway power might be worth it too. And I know a lot of people, obviously this year let's even go to the Gearbox Pro Power Elongated original one. That one's harder to control than this. So,
yeah.
I mean, some people have fine-tuned that. So
you were at the event. The fiberglass for this one's on the top, right?
That's what's advertised.
And then, so I think that's what he told. I was talking to him the other day, and I think he said, for this one, it's on the top.
Mm-hmm.
For this one, it's on the bottom.
Yep.
And then for
the ones that are coming up, you can say it.
The ones that are coming up, it's in the middle.
Yeah.
Because they have more coming out.
Yeah.
So I think that other one might be.
I told that's the one that everyone really loved.
Yeah.
Stock.
Yeah.
Everyone loved that one stock. The Shapeshifter I know is loved by a lot. Obviously, John highlighted this originally. Yeah. But as it comes to the Shapeshifter, some quick thoughts before. I don't want to say too much before I review, but basically, if you like the original Shapeshifter and you want some other shapes, great paddle. I've really enjoyed my time with it. Reset machine. Like, my drops with this are so good. My one complaint is lacking a little power. That's my personal preference. Like I said, it's definitely an all-court leaning control, if not control paddle. I haven't quite made up my mind on that yet. I need to do a little more testing, actually see where those numbers kind of line up.
Yeah.
But definitely enjoyed it, especially in the EX shape. Like I said, just you and I both love elongated. So it was nice kind of hitting this, and I'm definitely going to continue giving it a little more time before my review actually goes up. But yeah, it's a very solid paddle. And like I said, if you were a fan of the Shapeshifter, you will be a huge fan of this, especially like I said, in the new shapes. So
yeah, I'm excited. I haven't gotten the chance to hit this one, but my fire comes in on Tuesday.
Awesome.
So I'll get to play more with the fire, and I can't wait to hit that one.
We can convince Aaron eventually that this hits like a rocket.
Yes.
All right. What else we got on here? Oh,
that's it.
That's it for that. So let's get into paddle awards. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different categories.
Yep.
2 of which we both kind of discussed, and we were like, might need to mention at least a couple in them. So we'll get to that. But first topic, best all-court paddle of the year.
This might be the only one we agree.
Unanimous on it, yeah.
Yeah, this one's not even close.
Shogun. There's a couple others in here, especially a couple others that could be argued all court, especially one that'll be at the end. But the reason why I chose the Shogun slightly different for you, is just shape. This paddle performs very similar to some other ones I have in this list, or like I said, even later on. But just the fact that it comes in an elongated shape, the handle, just the feel of the titanium or polyester threads, as we've learned this year, just this paddle is just so perfect. Like I said, I wish it had a little more power. That's why it's an all court though, and just
You
the
got to wait up to here.
I know. I'm not certain people like Isaac that can weigh things
We
up
need
like
to
crazy.
put this on
The swing weight,
the
the graffiti.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's no telling because I think it comes in at 122 stock, so it's probably 128.
But yeah. So like I said, it's pretty simple. I mean, this paddle is definitely, like I said, it falls in that all court category. It's got great feel. I love the shape, love the handle, I love the design. It came out around when I went to Japan, so a little biased in the timing with that also, but just all around, very solid paddle. Bread and Butter absolutely killed it with this. I know a ton of people have been using it. It's been hard to switch off of. And even you, when you weren't using it and you would hit it, because I remember when I had got mine originally,
Yep.
It was right around when you had to give up your Gen 3
Yep.
Magnus. And I know you liked it, but you didn't love it at first.
I borrowed this one for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
That one.
this one for
That
2
one
weeks,
for
yeah.
2 weeks. And I got my own. But yeah, for me, this paddle has just been. You said you have your old reliable,
Yeah, which we'll get to.
which we'll get to later. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has just been my reliable all year. Whenever I feel like I can't hit a drop or can't play, then this is what I pick up. As he said, whenever I had to switch off my Gen 3 Magnus, I played with this for a while, got the mod, came back to this, got the Proton, came back to this.
Yeah.
So I pick this up whenever I want to.
Yeah.
I feel like this helps me play at my best, or yeah, it's just one of my favorite paddles.
Just it looks so good.
And it looks so good. And I love polyester.
Yeah, the feel is great.
Yeah.
All right, probably the only one we're going to completely agree on.
Yep.
Best power paddle of the year. What's yours?
Controversy. I can't go against it. It's had its problems. It's had its ups and downs, but it breaks.
Yeah.
It breaks. This one's broken.
Yep.
It finally broke after. We're weird. We don't hit that hard. After 3 months, it broke. We're not one of the people that wears out a mod in a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's got to go bye-bye. So, but I really liked it. We played with it in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I was kind of done with it. I haven't really picked it up since, but
It was good to test it in a tournament.
it was good to test it in a tournament, and it held up
Yeah.
really good.
Mhm.
I mean, I thought we played pretty decent in Vegas, at least.
And not just playing a power game either.
and not just, that was the thing that was always crazy with this for us, was we don't drive
Yeah.
and then point over. The feel on these things were crazy.
Going
And
back to the original Gen 3s.
going back,
Yeah.
to the Gen 3s, to this. This is my favorite feeling paddle
Yeah.
of it. Just is. I just like the way it feels. Of course, I like the power.
Mhm.
I like the put away power more than anything. But I don't really drive. Like, I drive a little bit, but overall, I really like that the power was there when you wanted it, but you could also switch to a control game, and it was.
Yeah.
Because everybody would always say, they're like, it's so hard to control. And I was like, just don't
Yeah.
swing as hard. Stop swinging so hard.
And I mean, you and I also had some different opinions with the 16 versus the 14.
Yeah. That's true.
I struggled with the 16 big time. I actually had someone just comment this too, which I was very happy to finally see, because not a ton of people say that. And I think it just goes back to the inherent of, like, belief from previous paddles that the 16 is the control versus the 14 is the power. But in this, because of that dwell time, that trampoline effect, the 14, my opinion, hits slightly less hard than the 16 if you're getting that trampoline effect, because the ball can't go in as much, doesn't get shot out as fast. But my power paddle of the year, which is in my top 5 power paddle of the year, is video that I just posted, I think 2 days ago, but is the PaddleTech TKOC. for all the reasons that I say in that video, and I'm going to stick by, it doesn't break. It hits crazy hard. They kind of brought a new cell technology, which a lot of people are copying. It does everything well. Like I said, carbon fiber. Like there's a reason why people are copying. Like I said, people are trying to import, are trying to find the source of their cores. Yep. You're seeing it across like a lot of the new paddles coming out. They finally switched to carbon fiber. They hadn't done that. Shocking. They do it, and then everyone buys their paddles. But the TKOC, just because of the durability, being USAP approved, not having any drama, it's not the top of the market, but it hits almost as hard as, like, it's way above everything else. Like, there's not much just below it. It's kind of like, it's power paddles is kind of in a weird spot where, and I'll say this after a couple others, but like, there's like 2 paddles in my mind that are kind of like the very bottom. And then there's like maybe a couple others right there. And then there's just kind of this big gap. Then you have the TKOC, and then it's like another kind of like 5% jump. And then you have the Pro Power Ultimates, the Pro Power Ultimate, the Pro Ultimate, the Pro Power Elongated, the Ripple, if that comes out, the Mod, and 3S. Yeah. And it's like those are kind of in their own league of their own, and the TKO is just slightly below those, but barely.
And then it's a
big drop off. Now, I think, like I said, that's what we've mentioned with Q1. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of paddles fill that gap.
Yeah.
But yeah, the TKO, just because of how durable it is, there's no problems. You know what you're going to get. It's hard to not have picked that this year. However, and that is still my power paddle, like number one power paddle this year. But I do want to highlight this one. Because as I mentioned in my video, I wanted to give this the 1 spot because I can't give it to the Mod because it breaks. That's my opinion.
Yep.
I loved it this year. It breaks. I don't want to highlight that, especially if they did intentionally do those crushed cores with doing 17 millimeter and 16 millimeter mold. Like, a little shady if that's true.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if I fully believe that. Might have been just QC issues. I know they said that, but this paddle, on the other hand, is perfect.
Yeah.
It feels a little different. I do prefer the feel of the Mod, but I feel like I feel like I can control this better.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit quite as hard, but the problem is the stamp.
Yep.
And again, this might not be an issue next year. Next year, UPAA might be, across the board with everybody. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more companies that are getting certified through UPAA. But I just wanted to highlight it. I gave it the number 3 spot in my video.
Yeah.
For that reason, and just also the controversy of Yola this year. But I just want to highlight it because this thing is so good. It's so solid. I hope the paddle certification conversation gets resolved next year, of at least having more clarity across the board from paddle manufacturers. But yeah, TKOC still takes the top spot for me.
We forgot to talk about something.
What? Oh, I know exactly what you're going to talk about. You can hold this.
And if you put the picture up.
Yeah. This one doesn't have it. But
if you put the picture up earlier, the Project Flamingo will be the first paddle that has both stamps.
Yep.
They'll have UPA and the USAP stamp.
Which is kind of cool to see. And
I know really cool.
I know that was a big topic too, because it might have been Kyle. I know they mentioned this, but Kyle was, I think, the original person that, at least I heard, that was bringing into question, will they allow it?
Yeah.
And obviously it's nice to see that. It's nice to see that the Project Flamingo will have both. And again, it's just nice. You buy a paddle, you don't have to worry. If you can use it here, you can't use it here. There's stigma behind it, whatever it may be. So it's nice that, like I said, hopefully going forward, we're going to have most paddle manufacturers that have both, just to not have questions. I know that paddle won't, just because of the lawsuit with USAP. Yeah. But yeah, my power paddle of the year is still Paddletech TKOC. That paddle is just so solid. I know you loved it too.
I love that paddle.
It just needs a little weight. The sweet spot is the only drawback to that paddle. It just needs a little weight.
It'll be on the list.
And it feels great.
Don't worry. It'll be on the list.
All right, next. Best innovation of the year.
I'm looking at a couple of things in the stack.
Do you want to grab that while I talk about mine?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going a little different with this. I am not going with a paddle. My best innovation of the year is this little thing in this bag, which actually we learned is out of Arizona. which is kind of cool because I did not know that for the longest time.
Yeah.
But the slice cap. And the reason why I think this is so cool is it's nice to see innovation outside of obviously just paddle manufacturers.
Yeah.
And it's cool because they make end caps for all paddle shapes. They have different weights. Think half a gram and a full, or half an ounce, full ounce.
Half an ounce, full ounce, I think.
Yeah. And yeah, it's cool. And there's so much customization. You can do your name. I know a bunch of companies also have their logos on the bottom, like Pickleball Apes.
Yeah, I'm getting
Bread and Butter has some of the coolest.
Shogun one next week.
The 007 one's still my favorite, but the Shogun's right behind it.
It's going to be really cool.
But the other thing I think that's so cool is, okay, so they come out with this cool concept. I talked to a couple paddle manufacturers. Interesting conversations around it, but it's nice to see a third party has kind of taken the reins on this. But I was like, why not introduce, so I come from golf, super stroke grips are the rave. Everyone has them. Now they're coming stock on like paddle manufacturers, like with a third party grip, just coming on that. They're branded it. Anyways, very similar to what we're seeing with this for putters. They have okay. Grips too, but the putter technologies, they originally had this really thick grip, okay. And then now they've just taken over. And where I wanted to get to with it is they originally were just, like I said, thicker grips. But then they started adding back weighting because obviously swing weights and all this stuff is huge in golf. It's needed in golf. And I was always like, oh, it'd be cool if you could customize the weight of this. Obviously, they offer 2 stock options. But then not only did they innovate once with coming out with this new product, they now have washers with a little wrench that you can lock into the bottom of the butt cap. The only problem is once it's on, you can't just interchange it. Yeah. Because on the putter grips, it's on the top. So you can swap it out and then the weight goes inside the butt end of the grip.
Oh, wow.
And it comes right up. So I'd be interested to see if they could somehow implement that with this. Because if you can install this and then have an opening to where you can touch that, be really cool.
That would be really cool.
The fact that they, like I said, already kind of have done another innovation and having more customization, really cool. Also, this says grams, so I wonder if it's 1 gram and half a gram. I don't know.
I know that they have 1 ounce.
I think it's 1 ounce and half an ounce, and then they have grams for their washers that go inside.
I don't know. I know they have 1 ounce caps.
But anyways, really wanted to highlight this. Like, I've seen so many people at our parks that are using slice caps. Yeah. Something I really want to experiment, as I mentioned, on the Flamingo when we get our hands on that. But I definitely think this deserved attention. Definitely a cool product. And I love that, like I said, they're continuing to come out with new stuff. They're partnering with brands and just, it's another cool, unique way if you get your own logo, your name, whatever, putting on the bottom of your paddle. Really cool. Yeah, and it comes in a ton of colors too.
Yeah. No, they sell so much. It's crazy.
So that's my best innovation of the year.
For me, as we've said on this pod, we think next year is going to be the year of durability.
Yeah.
And they did something cool here with the Reload. Paddle faces, new paddle faces. Right now it's just in one paddle, one shape. So one face type. So, but I think it's the start of something that could be I love the idea. And if we're talking about innovation, I think the idea was great. And I mean, yeah, it's
a couple other brands went a different way about it, but the fact that
you can take it off and on,
and it's the actual paddle,
and then you can just buy new faces. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how expensive they are. Is it
my guess is it's around crazy. I think it's $10 to $15 maybe. I'll put up the website on this. There's a couple things they need to change on this. This paddle definitely has grown on me. We don't have this category, but I would say this is also the most underrated paddle this year.
Yeah.
One of at least.
Could definitely be up there.
I know it was talked about a ton. I know a couple of reviewers keep highlighting it, which is why I like to, because this paddle deserves more attention. And not only that, I want it to get more attention because I want to see maybe another shape. And I definitely want to see a titanium polyester thread face on this.
That would be really cool.
I would really love to see that. So I'm glad that's, like I said, it was your pick because it's just such a unique paddle that deserves more love.
Yeah. And then one more thing I saw on the pile and I was thinking about it. I'm pretty sure this came out this year.
It did.
The Nanotite came out this year.
That's fair.
There's a lot of controversy around it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we've been told
is
that it's solid.
Yep.
And if this is solid,
they solve durability.
And it spins.
It spins good. But not like, I want to say it spins crazy good, but it's not like it's light years better than what we've seen some carbon fiber. Because I just want to be clear of like, because I know one of the big reasons, like I said, the Andre Deescu situation, granted, one of those, the first one, foreign substance, but there's that viral clip of that ball sticking to the face.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we highlight the fact that the spin's not to like, oh, this is a legal spin.
No.
It just spins so well and it lasts.
It spins so well, it lasts. And like we said, if we're looking for durability, this has it.
Yep.
It was just something it was right under the reload.
That was a good call out.
I figured it was
I forgot that came out this year.
I did too. I was like, they started in February. It was right under the reload. Felt like a sign to pick it up.
That's a great call out. Yeah. No, definitely deserves a lot of attention. And like obviously that paddle sold extremely well this year. And obviously it served Deescu really well until Project Flamingo came out.
Hey.
But
again,
who's to say that might not get a revision?
Yeah, exactly. And he can get
who's to say
new paddles whenever he wants.
Exactly. Next. This one might be unanimous as well. I don't know your answer. But let's go paddle manufacturer or we can do anything with pickable products. Comeback of the year. It's probably gonna be paddle manufacturer. That's where I'm going. But if you can think of something outside the box, but what company or paddle, whatever, had the best comeback of 2024?
I think it's gonna be unanimous.
Yeah, I think so too. But that's
if we're saying
yeah. Yep. Paddle Tech. And it started with this paddle.
The Bantam.
Now, granted, technically the ALW, not this one specifically because they changed the handle.
Yep.
But it started with the ALWC at the end of last year. And then it carried on into the TKOC, the ESQC, and then just paddles. The whole Bantam line. And like I said, it really just took carbon fiber and their new core. And like, it's a Gen 1 paddle. A Gen 1 paddle took over this year, sold extremely well. And it's like,
it was crazy. I mean, when we went to Vegas, it was a sea of mods. And then everyone else had a TKO.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
It was mods and TKOs.
Yep. But just Paddle Tech killed it this year.
They killed it.
They did so well. And I mean, they were irrelevant. I mean, I know some of the other reviewers on their podcast were making fun of them last year because they would not release anything new.
Yep.
And the funny thing, well, like I said, carbon fiber was new for them.
I'm just saying new to everyone else.
I know. Other than the core. You have to give them credit for the core. But outside of that, there's nothing new.
They did something.
And my prediction, I'm just going to randomly throw this in there. Paddle Tech took over the whole market this year with a Gen 1 paddle. Watch out next year. They're going to take over the entire market with the Gen 1.5 paddle next year. Because the one problem, not so much with the ESQC or the ALWC, but with the TKO, the sweet spot.
Yep.
You know what'll solve that? A little edge foam in Gen 1.5.
Yep.
And then you still don't have the thermoformed issue of it breaking. That's my prediction. I don't know anything. They have not told me anything. I haven't read anything.
You're listening.
I do not. But yeah, that's my bold prediction is that they're literally going to release a Gen 1.5 and it's going to sell so well. And we're like, it's going to be like the iPhone. They're not beating anyone in the market with new technology, but they're perfecting that technology and everyone loves it.
Yep.
But yeah, awesome to see them. And like I said, obviously Christian Alshon, Hanley Waters, just absolutely having great years. So definitely cool. And it was nice seeing the signature paddles. That's the last thing to pull out on. Yeah, especially Alshon, like I said, getting his own. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay. This one, we're going to have a couple answers because I think it was too hard to say just one. What's your favorite paddle of 2024? And this is personal. This is not our objective overall best paddle. Just what did we use the most this year and what did we love the most this year?
So I got mine. I'm not going to talk about this again. I already said everything I'm going to say on it, besides how much I love it. And I love it so much. And I'm going to put it back away because It's got to be in my top 3. It was my favorite paddle. I went back to a ton. This one's new. The Proton Series 4. It was a great paddle. It's edgeless, which is the only fault I got for it. Just saying.
I wonder if that's going to be solved.
Maybe.
Totally not a teaser.
I did start. My first 2 paddles were actually edgeless. I don't know if you know that. Did you know my first one was?
I just know the Lux was your second.
Yeah, I know. It was the Icon. The Dynamite.
You went from the Icon to the Lux?
Yeah.
That's a change. All right.
So I used to like edgeless paddles. Obviously, we've kind of thrown a lot of shade at edgeless paddles, but for sweet spot, I'd say this is pretty above average for an edgeless paddle.
I have another random thought that popped in my head, which we can get to. So I'll bring mine up. I'm not gonna cut you off completely here because I'm gonna let you finish. But the bottom line of power, this one fits into it.
Oh yeah,
like that. Like I said, that huge jump. Because I had a comment, and that's what popped in my head. Because I said this is close to a power paddle, if not bottom tier power paddle.
Yeah,
it hits hard, but it's nowhere near a Ripple, a Mod, a 3S, a Paddle Tech. Like these are the bottom tier. And like I said, there's that gap, and then there's all those. But then to quickly say mine, which is in that category of bottom of power, is Thrive Azul. I've mentioned it a ton this year. It's my go-to. I always go back to it. It's home to me. But let's finish up on your Series 4.
Yeah. And where he was going with it, I mean, it's got that good level of power. I mean, if you've played some of our pros who have it at the park, it's got plenty of power.
Oh, it hits plenty hard.
They hit plenty hard with it. I feel like it's got what I need. It's just been a good, reliable paddle. I haven't played with it a ton, but I've played with it enough to know that it's top 3 for sure.
You've got plenty of experience with Series 4s.
Yeah. We done talking about that.
Can we talk about all the Series 4s? No, we cannot. Again.
I'm not teasing.
Who's to come?
I'm not teasing anything.
Who knows what's to come?
My top paddle of the years is over there, so you can guess which one it is. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, it'd be the one you're holding. Technically. Yeah, that's fair. We'll get to it then, because that'll probably be my third. But yeah, so my number one, as I kind of mentioned, Thrive Azul. I love this paddle. I used it in the first PPA in Vegas I played with Anthony. I also did another tournament with this, but Anthony and I got 5th. I used this at the Fontainebleau. I just love this paddle. Yeah. And like I said, it's my first, actually, no, it's not true. I used the double black diamond and the ruby before this, but coming off of that, from that hybrid shape, switching to this, getting that extra power, just great feel, the Kevlar mixed with the carbon fiber. I love it. I love this paddle. I've been seeing a lot of people online that are like, I think that bought this because it was obviously very hyped up in April. A lot of people bought it. I know a lot of people are moving on from it, but it's something that I just always, anytime I'm struggling, I go back to, just like you with your Shogun. It's just, I love this paddle so much. But yeah, so the Thrive was definitely my favorite paddle to use throughout all of 2024. Next, this is gonna be a tie, because I have to include it. It's new, but it's gonna be these two, and these are both newcomers. But the Pickleball Apes Pulse and the Project Flamingo. It has to be in there. I wasn't gonna put the Flamingo in there, but
Flamingo would be my number one. I didn't think we were allowed to pick it.
I've also been using it more than you, though.
I'd still put it number one.
That's fair.
It would be the number one paddle on the list.
Yeah, mine. Like I said, it's probably close to 2.
Yeah,
but like I said, the other thing is still is the prototype technically proved, but like I want to see the final.
This one, if it was in an actual elongated shape, then it would also be in my top 3.
If this was in this shape,
it would be, it might be my number one.
And the funny thing is, I love the ultra elongated shape. I actually really play well with it. I know most people don't like it. I actually quite enjoy it.
Yeah. But
if it was just in this shape, it would be just so much easier to play with more. Even though I like hybrids, but it's just,
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
If this paddle was this paddle, or if this paddle was shaped like this paddle, it would be my top 3 would be this one and the Showbiz.
Yeah. But these are probably the late, like I said, the late comers that definitely have been in my pickleball bag and that I've been choosing to use, not just for reviews, a lot as of late.
For sure.
And the last one for me, which, like I said, we kind of highlighted, but the Gen 3S. I used it a ton this year. I can't not include it. I love this paddle. As I said, I think it's almost a perfect pickleball paddle aside from the stamp. Obviously, we use the mod as well.
Yep.
But
the only reason that I would put the 3S in there over the mod is it breaks.
Yeah. This one doesn't break, or at least much more difficult to break this. I don't know anyone that has. I'm sure somebody has, but Graham, you and I will never break this paddle unless it is defected out of the factory.
Yep.
But yeah, this thing's just super solid, super enjoyable to play, consistent. It's a good paddle. Like I said, there's a reason why they sold so many, and you see a ton of them. But yeah, that's my last one. Those are my 4, I guess, technically. I know they're supposed to do 3, but love those. All right. What's the best paddle company of 2024? And again, there's going to be a lot to name here, which I know is not the reason for this, like awards-wise, but it's our show.
Yeah, we can do it.
A lot of companies, I think, deserve love this year.
Yeah.
I'll start it off, if I can find it. 11/6/24. And they arguably made the best or second best budget paddle of this year.
Yeah.
Friday is the other one. The value on that is insane. I know we have one. We don't need to get it. We've shown it a lot. But
I got it right here.
Oh, yeah. Friday is the other one, but this one it's better. Like overall performance wise. The value on that's better.
Since you say that.
All right.
I'm going to bring this out.
So that's in yours.
Because I was debating putting them in the top 3.
All right.
Just out of what they've done this year alone.
Yeah.
Again, not to just keep sending you guys to other people's podcasts, but the interview that Pickleball Studio had with them, where they talked about how it kind of began. I mean, that was all this year too.
Them beating us and
that was not. They actually skipped that part because it wasn't relevant enough to them.
They did the match before, and then they did the final bronze match, but not ours.
For me, just what those guys have done this year. I mean,
100%.
I see a lot of Fridays.
And I've been seeing more and more as of late.
It's a good paddle.
Their marketing's amazing.
I push so many people that way.
Yeah.
If someone's like, I want to start pickleball, I'm like, go buy a Friday.
There's not a single paddle in Target, Walmart, or Dick's Sporting Goods that I would recommend.
Dick's Sporting Goods and you buy
any paddle under $100 there is terrible.
That's what I'm saying. If you go buy, they sell those 2 packs of those Monarchs that they own. Not these Monarchs.
Which is changing.
Which is changing because of them. But you go buy, they're like $80.
Yeah.
For 2.
It's terrible.
You can buy, not this one, but the other one for $99.
It's over there.
Here somewhere.
Yeah, it's fine.
But thermoformed.
Thermoformed,
yeah. But you can buy 2 of those for $99.
Yeah. And 2 of those for $159,
I think.
Something like that.
I think it's $159.
Great deal.
Right now, I think you can buy them for like $70, just one of them.
Well, at one point this year, you could buy this for, I think, $60-something.
I actually did buy one.
Yeah, you did buy one.
Yeah,
my point.
I bought one of those.
But anyways, like, I could agree with everything you said. Friday's amazing. Like I said, I love everything they're doing. But great guys. So I'd say for beginner-wise, someone just getting into pickleball, not the Challenger. Challenger, that one can compete. But the 2 for $99, beginner-wise, definitely the best paddle to recommend. But if you are just past that, maybe you've played a little bit, maybe you've bought one of those cheap Target paddles or whatever, this is the paddle I would recommend.
Yeah.
Also, because the shape over, the jelly bean over that shape, the sweet spot on this is amazing. Yeah. Carbon fiber, it's just everything about this I love.
Straight paddle.
It's just the value. And on top of that too, getting into back to the company wise, the amount of paddles they've released, the power paddles they're about to come out with, which are in the mail. We're about to play test those pretty soon. But it has been so cool to see them kind of hit a home run and just keep expanding.
Well, I mean, you think about this, this paddle specifically, Aaron was using this and he can play with any paddle he wants. he has every paddle.
Definitely.
So, I mean, if that goes to say how good that paddle is.
Yeah. So what's next your next company that you want to highlight? I might be with you.
I don't think I have any more from the company, so I'm just going to bring this one back up.
Yeah.
But, actually, the Invaders right there somewhere. But bread and butter, their marketing this year has just been great. And we were going over some paddles they released this year. The Loco came out this year. The Shogun came out this year. The Filth came out this year. The Fat Boy came out this year. And the Invader came out this year. They released 5 paddles this year that are all amazing paddles.
Yeah.
All with killer marketing. All with different little crazy face covers, crazy butt.
Stories
they actually
behind
all have
paddle.
slice caps. Do you know they have
I did not know that.
I was on their website the other day. They're sending.
I knew the Fat Boy.
They're sending a bunch. I think they have a slice cap for every paddle. They're just. You want the kitchen collab?
Yeah.
Like they've done just so much this year, and it's just like it's fun. It's just all fun. So I really enjoy what they're doing with the game.
Second best paddle company this year, Paddle Tech.
Yeah.
Like I said, comeback paddle of the year, in my opinion. They had the best power paddle this year, in my opinion. Paddle Tech deserves a lot of love. It's nice to see them back. They do a lot for pickleball. They sponsor a lot of pros, just helping grow the game. But yeah, Paddle Tech just absolutely killed it this year. Great comeback. And like, it's just so many good products this year as well. Yeah. It's almost every paddle they released. And then, like I said, the biggest thing everyone complained about on these, especially on the ALWs, was the handle and the butt cap. And they fixed it. Yeah. Now it's flat. Made the handle a little bit longer as well. Yeah. And also, they have options. That's the other thing too. As on the ALW, they have 2 handle length options, which I'm like, that's so awesome. Also, like I said, not saying this paddle is only for females, but they definitely at least had that in mind. The fact of girls that might have smaller hands, another option.
Yeah.
But it's like, and then, like I said, guys that might want to use this paddle who really like it, they have a longer handle option. And also now with the new end cap, it makes the handle feel even longer. And you have the ESQ.
Don't like it.
Exactly. Slightly different shape, but basically the same paddle.
Yep.
It's just, they killed it this year.
Yep. I agree.
All right. What's number 1? Oh, I should have used another paddle for another reason, but we'll use this one. Yeah, we'll use this one.
You want to go first?
My number 1's Honolulu Pickleball.
That's fair.
For reasons that we're about to get to in the next one. But Honolulu Pickleball, very similar to 11-6-24. Released a home run.
Yeah.
And just kept going.
Yeah, they did.
Just kept going. And again, a company out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Arguably, because I think I know what your number 1 is.
Yeah.
Very similar argument. So I kind of overthought that.
Different, but same.
Different, yeah. Very different types of companies, but a company that came out of nowhere this year and just took the world by storm. And going to yours, did it very differently.
2 very different companies, but for me, it's Proton because Charles has put so much into this sport.
Mm-hmm. Official sponsor, I think, of the PPA now.
Yeah, paddle sponsor of the PPA. They've been the title sponsor of the junior PPA all season. Proton on center court at Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
They just opened an HQ in Vietnam, as we said.
Trying to grow the sport globally.
Like, they are pushing.
Yeah.
And it also could be because I see everything they're doing here in Arizona. They're right here. So, they give away.
So they do so much to Scott for the Arizona community. They are very supportive of.
They support. They sponsor every local tournament. They're everywhere. They're doing giveaways all the time. Just how much money they're putting in as a company. Charles, how hands-on he is. He is flying to each tournament himself as the CEO, which is
awesome.
That's a big deal. Because he's been in business for a long time. This isn't like his first company.
Exactly. had success in softball.
He's had success in softball. And yeah, he's putting so much into this sport that I feel like they have to be on the list.
It is, like I said, it's funny, as I kind of was hinting at it, but it's like both started this year.
Yep. And
they came out with a ton of paddles, bunch of paddles that might not even be out yet.
Yeah.
They're experimenting with different face types. They nailed the shape with getting rid of that taper, just adding that little bit extra at the throat makes the sweet spot amazing. Killed it with the new hybrid shape. Obviously, killed it with this. Came out with the J2 Ti. They hopped on a trend. Like I said, understandably, as everyone was wanting it, that did extremely well. They have different shapes.
The J7K.
The J7K, which we both are loving
so
now.
Nice.
I almost put that in my...
Yeah.
But I didn't use it enough comparative to the other ones.
That's how I feel.
But yeah, both two companies that just absolutely came on the scene this year, sold paddles, like a ton of paddles this year. I see so many Protons. Part of that might be because we're in Arizona, but also I've traveled a lot this year. I see Protons a lot of places. So I have to say, like, we obviously live in a market where we see a lot of them. I've seen them when I've traveled as well.
Yep.
I see a ton of people at the PPAs buying them. Actually in the tent buying Protons. And then on the flip side, you have a company that is direct to consumer that, like I said, hit a home run, made a bunch of paddle options, catering to what the consumer wants, and is at a very affordable price. Obviously, because Proton is top of the market. They make some of the best budget paddles, and that's why a lot of their success was this year. So it's really cool to see two companies come on the scene, do a lot for the pro scene and growing the sport, and then do a lot in terms of catering to the consumer, a lot of shapes, a lot of face types, and being very affordable. So cool. Very cool to see.
Yeah.
And last, what's your objective best paddle of the year? So when I say objective, not our favorite paddle of the year, but if we were to look at the market, look at reviews, look at what people are actually using, what do you think the paddle of the year should be?
You want me to go first?
I can go first if you want.
Either way.
Mine was just up here. The J2K. I have seen so many of these. And the funny thing is, so I was using the Thrive Azul, and then I got this. I reviewed it. That review, because I had just started. It was like maybe my fourth review. First 5 reviews.
Sure.
This thing took off for a person that had no subscribers. And I was like, wow, people really like this company. And then I started seeing more of them and more of them. And as I said in my review, the sweet spot on this thing for a hybrid is crazy. The price point on this paddle is amazing, especially after code. It's like, this paddle did so much right and at such a good price point. And like I said, it's led to all of the rest of the success that they have with experimenting with new face types, adding extra shapes, having pro models. It's just this, I see so many Honolulu pickleball paddles, and it's all because of the J2K. I would say the J2 Ti is because I think they're very similar paddles, and we both love titanium or polyester threads. We'll see how long we keep having to say both of those. But yeah, this paddle it's hard for me to not give it just because of the success it has for such a small company. And like I said, the price point and performance.
Mine, we don't have it with us right now, but it's the TKO. It was just, I mean, a lot of it was timing. A lot of it was the year it was like, but a lot of it, you just have to give credit to them because, like you said, they took stuff that was already there.
Yeah.
Like, it's a Gen 1 paddle that they made roughly, I don't know, but I'd probably say the second biggest paddle of the year.
Yeah.
After the Olas.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it is.
And it's ironic because it came out right after the original Gen 3.
Right after the Olas.
Which was perfect time.
And then they got delisted. By the time the 3Ss got on the scene, TKO's already there.
Already taken over.
So, to me, that's the best paddle. It doesn't break. All the reasons that you put it as the best power paddle of the year.
Yep.
That's why it's... I have different feelings of what my favorite are, objectively.
Yeah.
For sure, 100%. That's the paddle of the year, in my opinion.
Like I said, I think that's a great choice. Like I said, there's a reason why I put it number one in power. It's a great choice. Great choice. I can't argue it. Like I said, they are the Apple. And like I said, I said in this podcast, they are the Apple of pickleball.
Yeah.
They fine-tuned what it was already out there, nailed the timing, and made a great product. And like I said, they were rewarded. So many people use paddle techs now. It's crazy. And like I said,
and it just paved the way for the ALWC to come back
around. Because like I said, the ALWC was being ignored.
And it came out in December of last year.
Yeah. Like I said, that paddle is essentially the same paddle, just different shape.
Yep.
I saw some of them, but not really. No one was talking about it. TKO comes out. Now you see ALWs. And then obviously the ESQC came out later.
That thing's it's like a rocket too. It's great.
Poppy. Not as much power, but super
like
crazy.
Crazy.
So light.
Yeah.
It's just their lineup is just great. But yeah, Paddle Tech, props to you. Like I said, I just want to keep showing love. Like they absolutely killed it this year. But yeah, I think that wraps up our paddle awards. I know we kind of rambled on in a couple of those segments, but I'm glad we kind of got to celebrate a lot of the greatness. Like I said, and just a lot of companies.
Crazy year.
This is a great year for pickleball.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see, like I said, 2025. It's going to be very intriguing to see kind of what happens, like I said, with power. And the last thing I want to say on the TKOC, it's like, this still, like I said, is objectively my number one. But the one thing I will also say, and this is in the power category, there's a reason why everyone's trying to be paddle tech right now.
Yeah.
There's a reason why everyone is comparing themselves to paddle tech and not some of the others. Yeah. But yeah, awesome. Like I said, we'll probably have one more podcast out by the end of the year. I think so. One more before the end of the year.
So,
Yeah. So this probably isn't the last time you'll see us, but appreciate you guys watching.
Maybe the last before Christmas though.
That's true. That's probably true. Yeah.
So
yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
Thank you guys.